everybody. Should be live. Welcome to the Cornell campus. Just begun my search. Although I will say this, as I reached the campus, and more on the western end of campus, I did see a hawk. I don't know if it was anyone we know, but I came up here closer to the central part of campus and closer to the Ag and Life Sciences quad to set up and get ready. Again, that hawk that I saw may have been a hawk we know, may not have been a hawk we know. I don't know. But anyway, I did see a number of red-tailed hawks on my way. And I gave each one of them suitable appreciation, as well as a scolding. Admonition to stay away from the road, even if they had no intention of going anywhere near the road. I had estimated that I would be starting at about 4:15. It's a little early. I just started at about 4. I really didn't drive all that fast, but there was, just not much traffic to block the way, and I managed to get here relatively quickly. So we're here. I'm starting, or I have started. It is, raining a little bit, not hard. Wouldn't mind if it would stop, but while we're in the car, it's okay. But if we're out and about on foot, I'd rather it not be raining, just because I'd rather keep lenses dry. Not just camera lenses, by the way. My binoculars. It's annoying when there's when the lenses get wet and have drops of water there as well. Thermometer is reading 46 degrees, just so you know. Not sure if it's accurate or not, but it gives you a general ballpark figure, if you're wondering how warm it is. I see somebody. Same place we saw a hawk last week, I believe. On the water cooling, chilling, whatever. Okay, let me get set and we'll take a look. It looks like this hawk is, whoever it is facing away from us, unfortunately. I have removed the teleconverter from the scope, by the way. case you were wondering. I doubt you were. No telling who this is at this point. Hold on. I'm lightening it up as best I can. Might be Arthur, but I don't know. Might be the Queen. Hey baby, whoever you are. I think it's Big Red. Hey baby, good to see you. Good to see you. Didn't see you last week. We did see Arthur last week. I'm just looking around right now. I don't happen to see anybody else. I see some pigeons. Now, unfortunately, because of where she is, I can't drive around and give you a look at her from the front, because the building itself is in the way and we wouldn't be able to see her from anywhere else, really. There might be, I think no matter what I do, whatever I would do, I think I would be prevented from seeing her. I could drive on the road and maybe look back, but I have a feeling the building, like I said, would get in the way actually relatively quickly. So again, I'm looking around. I'm not seeing anybody else, that is. Not yet. More pigeons. We won't stay here and watch her too long. I wouldn't mind finding Arthur. If possible. And since she's just hanging out there, this is chilled water plant number 2. That's what it's called. I have no idea what it does. I mean, does it just simply chill water? I don't know. What's this water for? Okay, we're going to move on, since she's just there relaxing. We're going to get maybe another close-up of her beautiful face. Of course, if she looks away, it's not so easy. Look at her. Trying to look back to see if she happens to see anything, but she might see something special, but I can't see it from where I am. Okay, let's move on and see if we can find Arthur. Hi, baby. I've never researched the issue, and maybe I will one of these days. But one wonders, where's chilled water plant number 1? Maybe there is no chilled water plant number 1. That's always a possibility. It could be that water plant took the place of chilled water plant number 1. I'm not saying that's what happened, but you never know. After all, in Star Trek, for instance, the Enterprise 1701 was replaced by 1701A, you know? But you knew that, right? Right? Right. the original was a Constitution class. The A was a Constitution class. The B was an Excelsior class. The C, I can't remember. The D was a Galaxy class. And the E, a Sovereign class. I'm not sure about the C. We only saw the C in one episode, by the way. But again, you knew all that. I'm just telling you what you already know. Wake up. Walk across the road on the phone, not paying attention. See some starlings. Don't see anyone on Sage Hall, although somehow that seems more like a big red stopping point. Maybe occasionally Arthur joins her, but I'd have to say overall, Montezuma was kind of disappointing today. Maybe it was partly my fault. You know, Wildlife Drive, maybe we should have or could have. Well, we definitely could have. Maybe we should have spent more time looking at every single duck there. Might not have been exciting to do that, though. And certainly Mays Point and Shockey Pool were disappointing. We didn't see anything there. Well, we did see a hawk at Mays Point, a red-tailed hawk. say this though, I am glad that we went there. You know, if I hadn't gone, I'd wonder what I missed. I wish the sandhill cranes had been closer, but I was glad we saw them. I did not count the sandhill cranes, but there were quite a few. Maybe we could have and should have gone to the sandhill crane unit. You never know what we might have seen there. I doubt we would have seen sandhill cranes. Well, maybe along the way we would have seen some. Who knows? Oh. I don't see a hawk, but I do see this. An open parking lot. First time we've been in here in a while. I don't see any hawks, but that's not the point. That's wonderful. If it's going to stay open, that's wonderful, because you know, in prior years in the winter we've had a lot of nice hawk sightings in this area. Winter and spring and early spring, and you know, it's good to have access again if that's what's going to be maintained. Now who knows, maybe they'll move the barriers right back out again. I don't know, but certainly a possibility. They're right there. They haven't removed them. And maybe they just moved them out of the way temporarily just for some reason. But it's nice to drive through there for a change. See if Big Red is still where she was. Yep, she's still there. Although she may be, I wonder if she's about to leave. Maybe not. Very pretty birdie. Hello. They're a little better. I see a gull. Oh. Now, I actually had the right of way, but I wanted her to go first because I wanted to drive slowly. I didn't want her right behind me. Said that, now there's somebody else behind me. Go straight ahead, but too often that intersection just is too much of a hassle. didn't check the various perches at Bradfield, but I rather doubt that he would be on any of them. Just doesn't seem to be the time of year for such things. We can, don't get me wrong, I'd probably end up looking, but I'll bet he's not there. Usually, if I turn in here, it's, well, I mean, unless I know that there's one on the throne or something like that, because this is a decent place to view, usually there's nobody there. I'm just either turning in because you never know, maybe, have my fingers crossed. But rarely do we see hawks, for whatever reason, on the western side of Bradfield. Might occasionally see a peregrine falcon, but rarely do we see hawks here. And unsurprisingly, I see no hawks. We've already been through this area, but we're going to turn in here and look around anyway. Never know. Ooh, what did I just see? Saw something in the air. It may have been a gull, but I can't see it now just because this building popped up in the way. It looked like it was heading away from us, but I have a feeling it was not a hawk. to Sapsucker fairly soon. I mean, I'm still looking for Arthur, but we don't have an unlimited amount of time. Go see if that hawk that I had seen when I first reached the campus. I'm curious if it's still there. Wasn't that long ago, and so it's very possible that it's still there, especially on a day like today. Sometimes on a rainy day, hawk will just go to a spot and dry off. Exactly where it was. It's not there. Okay, that's fine. I see it. Thank you. I see it. Thank you. I often would wonder if it is, you know, a hawk with whom we're not familiar. Just given the location. Here very often, so you know, who knows, maybe Big Red and Ezra before Arthur, and now Arthur, maybe they visited the area frequently. I don't know, but just never got that sense that that was happening. Yes, I beat my horn. No, he wasn't even in the road yet, but he looked like he wasn't paying attention, so I beat my horn. Just walking along, looking at his phone, so I beat my horn. For his own good. Search for a few more minutes, and if we don't find him, we're going to make our way towards Sapsucker. I wonder if there's a hockey game going on and if we'll be able to get in this parking lot to our right. I hope so. Looks like we can. So let me look at one thing. Okay, let's keep moving. Head back towards Big Red, or at least where we last saw her anyway. You might wonder, why not go to the other side of the central heating plant, for instance? And I'm not going to say that no one would be there, and maybe we should go anyway. But in terms of Big Red and Arthur, this time of year, it just doesn't seem to be a place that they would go. Anything is possible. But place they would go, I think, if anything, what gets them to go there, when we were seeing them regularly back in June and July, where they're young. Quite honestly, we've seen that sort of thing really going all the way back to 2012. I mean, they wouldn't always go there, but if they did go, it was during the shortly after fledging. Big Red is no longer where she was. I see somebody though. And it could very well be Big Red if I had to, it is. Don't don't know what the building's called though. Let me have a look. I'll give you a quick look. This won't be a great one because whoever it is not facing us, but right over there. I'll bet that's Big Red. Maybe. I'm just going, it's worth a look anyway. I don't happen to see him on any of the places I can see. So let's keep going. And maybe we'll go back that way just to see if maybe he is there in the area. I see somebody. Who is this somebody? Hi, baby. Don't know who it is. Let's see if we can... Oh, come on, Ferris. Hold on. This is farther away, but maybe we'll have the semi kind of decent look. I gotta get some tree branches out of the way. You stay there, you, whoever you are. Okay. In the meantime, just give you a quick look. Okay? Okay. You hear the sheep. Does kind of look like Arthur with prey, I think. I'm lightening it up a little bit. I think it's Arthur. And I'm wondering if I could get a better look from that parking lot. Lighten it up a little bit more. His eyes look just a little bit light, so that very well may be Arthur. Hello, young man. And I may be wrong, but the crop looks kind of full already. Remember those pigeons I mentioned earlier? I'm not saying this is one of them, but they were over, well, to the right, from our perspective, on top of a structure there on top of the barn. As for Big Red, I can't see her from here. We'll look at him for a little bit, and then I think we're going to head to Sapsucker. If I had to guess, this is a pigeon. Hold on 1 second. Dr. Arthur. Good to see you, young man. Very good to see you. Okay, but I think it's time we started heading to Sapsucker Woods. Just because of our time factor, time limitations. If this were June, we'd have a lot more time. It'd be early, but it's not. So, let me switch cameras. See you indeed. So he's there, and Big Red is still over there. Hi, baby. Bye, baby. Cute. Good to see them both. You know, it's a large campus. There are a lot of places for any individual bird, even large ones like red-tailed hawks, to perch. And you know, especially when it comes to trees and things like that, it's, you know, it can be difficult to see them. I know all this, but when I come to the campus, especially if I have you know, a fair amount of time, it's not, you know, sometimes we've been here when it's essentially almost dark before we even arrive, and you know, I can understand if I don't happen to see anybody, but you know, if I have a fair amount of time, Squirrels, away from the road. There were 4 of them right there. Here along, we're on Tower Road right now. Here along Tower Road, there are a lot of oak trees. So that definitely brings squirrels around, and it even brings deer around sometimes. This morning it was interesting. You know, I kept hoping to see one of my neighboring red-tailed hawks. Kept going to the windows, nobody in view. I did see at one point two white-tailed deer. Well, actually I saw 4, and all 4 were males. I could tell because of the antlers, and 2 of them were like going head to head for a brief moment. And I tried to get my camera on that because I've never recorded such a thing myself. I'm sure it's been seen many times, but I never recorded such a thing myself, and they were done. I think they were just, I don't know. They didn't have a full rack of antlers, either one of them. And then the other 2 deer that I saw right afterwards in the same area, they seem to have more fully grown antlers, but still not a full rack. I don't know all that much about antlers, but they seem, I don't know, they just don't seem like they'd be very strong. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but they just don't seem to be. And you wonder how solid they could be. I mean, is it more like, you know, egg breaking on Easter morning? I don't know. You know, where one person takes an egg, another person takes an egg, both hard-boiled eggs, and you tap and you see which one breaks, which one cracks. I don't know if people do that or just, I don't know. I wonder if they took out that temporary traffic light. Kind of looks like they might have. And who knows, maybe they moved it to that road that I take from Ithaca to Montezuma, because there was one there on the way today. Well, a set of them, actually, I should say. Once we arrive at Sapsucker, I'm going to need just a few minutes to get ready to walk. Shouldn't take too long. And we probably won't take a long walk. And I don't anticipate taking other gear with me. I think I'm just going to take the camera you're looking through right now, more than likely. do see a hawk to our left, but I don't have a place to pull over and look at it, and it's not very, very close. See a hawk to our right on one of the poles. If I were keeping score, I'd say that's Sapsucker Woods. Although we won't see it from the trails. I did, by the way, eventually see one of my hawks just as I was leaving this morning. Always good to see one before I leave. Uh-oh. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Hold on a second. Oh, weird. Okay, I see a fair number of starlings on the wires. Some right here, but others to our right. I'm wondering if I can see, no, the pole where the hawk was, way down there. I believe I see more starlings. One second, I want to look up with my binoculars. Oh, they might be red-winged blackbirds up there. I think so. I said, I'll need a few minutes to get set for our walk. A few things to do before we do that. I said earlier that I was rather disappointed with with Montezuma as a whole, but I was still glad that we went there, and I'm still glad, and I still wish we had seen more. But you know, I've enjoyed the day overall, really. I'd have to say though, seeing both Big Red and Arthur didn't hurt. That kind of made things better. Okay. This I guess I don't need. Would have liked to have seen that tufted duck. But no. Okay. Let's see there. Just heard a blue jay or two. Lots of starlings. I might be hearing a car though, I'm not sure. You know, I should get one more thing before we walk. case I end up needing it. Where is it? There it is. Almost ready. Sorry about this. Is red and blackbirds, or are they? Yeah, I think they are. Unless they're grackles. Baby grackles? I don't think so. No. Red and blackbirds. Okay, let me just put my gloves on. 1 second here. How'd this get so tangled? I have to disconnect you 1 second. Do I? Yes. Okay. Officially now, welcome to Sapsucker Woods. I don't know. I don't know if it's actual blue sky or if that's just something going on with the clouds. It's still mostly cloudy here. Really, it's just not even mostly cloudy. It's cloudy, and maybe the clouds are thinner, but not. They're still there. Hold on, just, what did I just see? Did I see something? I think I'm hearing a chickadee. Don't know if I saw it. I'm hearing another one now. Well, maybe that's the same one. Yeah, that may be. Oh, that wasn't a chickadee. That was, who was it? Tufted titmouse. Hi, tufted titmouse. That's who I saw, but I haven't seen yet the chickadee, but I heard it. Blue jay. And I gotta tend to one thing here. 1 second. Okay. That's better. Hearing some kind of noise. Sounds like it might be from the feeding guard, so maybe there's a squirrel there at one of the feeders or something. I don't know. Mourning dove there on the ground. Didn't want to bother it, so that's why I just moved on. Cardinals? No. Yes, I could. And there may be more than one. That, who's that? Hey! My camera is indicating it's dark, so I'm going to see if I can see in there any better with binoculars. 1 second. Well, you know what? Maybe not. They may have, whoever that was may have just flown on. I think I just heard yes, a red-bellied woodpecker. I believe I'm hearing a nuthatch in the distance. White-breasted nuthatch. Just heard a red-winged blackbird. Yeah, maybe the sun is coming out. This is actually pretty in its own way. You can see somehow things are getting really light over there, but that doesn't mean that the skies are really, truly clearing. Something just disturbed the water here. That was a hairy woodpecker. And something moved the water over there. What's going on? I wonder if whatever moved it here moved it there. Because it swam underneath and underneath the surface and I didn't see it. I hear a pileated woodpecker. Distantly. Okay, chickadee right there. Mallard over here. That's a mallard. Is that a black duck? That might be a black duck right there. American black duck. But that is definitely a mallard. A male mallard. Shoot, I think the might have been the hairy woodpecker. It just flew up there. I don't want to bother the mallards, to be honest with you. Let me give a quick look at things with binoculars. Look at that nice reflection. Hold on 1 second. I know I'm turning on the side, but I hear the nuthatch again. Okay, let me look with binoculars just here and there. I may have just heard a Canada goose in the distance, I'm not sure. Maybe not. Okay, let's get to the trails. Leave those mallards alone. Well, the mallard and I believe an American blackduck, but I'm not sure. Did I just hear a robin? Yes, maybe two of them. Definitely heard one. That almost laughter type sound, that was a robin. But I believe there may be more than one. Love robins. In prior years, if you're new to the tour, we've seen robins here during the winter, and you know, who's that? Is that a cardinal? Am I pointing in the right spot? There. Female cardinal. Now that may be the one we've already seen. Northern cardinal. Yeah, another robin here. But anyway, we've seen robins here in the winter. I don't know if that means they remain here or if they're migrants from another area. There's a squirrel. So we're hearing a robin, possibly a cardinal, and also the red-bellied woodpecker. Trails are wet, no surprise. Don't know exactly how much rain Ithaca received yesterday. I know at one point, the forecast was for a couple inches of rain, but I have a feeling they kind of messed up the forecast, to be honest with you, because then they changed it quite a bit later. I don't know if that I believe was a red-bellied woodpecker. I'm having a hard time focusing on it, and I don't know if it was the same one that I've already heard. Hold on a second. Okay, that is a tufted titmouse. Couldn't really focus on it. I kind of saw it, but I definitely heard it. Sound is so important, you know, to bird watching. I mean, it's nice to be able to see and hear a bird, but you know, so often we have to rely on our ears. Anyway, so they may have received a lot of rain here, and just because there's water here doesn't mean that all of it must have rained yesterday. But you know, even as late as October, there have been times when there's been very little or no water in this little area here. So I think there are at least two tufted titmice vocalizing. What was I going to say? I don't know. So anyway, you know, I don't know how much rain they received yesterday. I know in my neck of the woods, they had it rained essentially all day yesterday. Not necessarily hard rain, but it was just rain. I don't think it let up until very late in the day. Another robin. Gigi. That was a robin vocalization. Anyway, sound is so important, and you know, doesn't matter how good your eyesight is. You know, if a bird is behind on the other side of a tree, you know, you're not going to see it. So we rely very much on sound. Now, every time there's a bird that we're aware of, we call it a sighting. But let's face it, very often that sighting means sound only. What was that? I don't know that call. I've heard it before. I want to hear it again. I have a feeling I know what it is, but I'm not sure. Did you hear it? Did-do. I'll have to look it up later. Well, what I'll say is I'll have to look up what I suspect it might be later. I don't want to say what I suspect it might be because it may not even be close. I don't want to look even more foolish than I already do. Actually, well, it's not super cold. I wish I had another layer on, to be honest with you. Didn't think I would need it, but it is very damp. It's cold and damp. Luckily, it's not raining at the moment. I don't know if the geese are coming in at night these days. We really didn't see many last week. Kind of didn't happen last week. By the way, I often, when I'm here in this intersection and talking about leaves, I refer to the photo I took years ago And I believe I took that photo on the 30th of October, and there was a lot of color that day. And you can see we're still in the greens, although, you know, the greens are fading. They're not deep greens by any means, but things are definitely different this year. I mentioned last week, you know, how I had been up here many years ago, more than 30 years ago, in Ithaca, and I hope that's just leaves losing their rain, or their raindrops, and that's not fresh rain falling that we're hearing. Anyway, I had mentioned how I had thought it was the 24th of October when we had a very spectacular fall day. And, you know, since then, on a number of occasions, I've seen things, you know, reach their peak colors much earlier. And it had me questioning my memory of the date. Couldn't have been as late as the 24th. Well, this year, I don't know if we're ever going to get a real peak of color. We saw some beautiful colors in Montezuma today. But, anyway, it's with this kind of color, it's certainly possible that the peak coloration didn't hit until October 24th, because we haven't even reached it yet here this year. The woods are very understandably and expectedly quiet, I would say, given the conditions, given the time of year, and given the time of day. Funny how things work, and sometimes just a little bit of a change can really affect one's perceptions. This weekend, you know, obviously we're here today, it's a Sunday, and it's the same 2 days of the weekend, but somehow it seems like a long weekend. Just because that was a downy woodpecker that we just heard. But just because, you know, I did other things yesterday and today we're here, it just somehow, that happens every once in a while. It's been like that to me when we've had to, you know, be here on a Sunday for some reason. And just, it changes the weekend enough that it makes it feel like a long weekend for some reason. I don't know why, but it does. However, tomorrow's Monday, as usual. Back to work. There's definitely a lot more activity near the lab and feeding garden and just that general area. We're hearing nothing way out here. I hear a nuthatch now. White-breasted nuthatch. You know, every once in a while I say, you know, if you're new to the tour, I don't know if we have new people joining us or tuning in ever. I think it's nice if, you know, if people who do tune in, just share it with friends or family, because you never know. Some people may enjoy it. I have relatives, I'm not sure if they've been tuning in regularly, but I know they tuned in at least a few times, and you know, they found it relaxing, and that's just, you know, to me that's nice to know. People tune in for different reasons. Maybe, you know, maybe just enjoy the birds. Maybe enjoy just something to see, and you never know what you're going to see. Maybe enjoy the chat room. I don't know. Okay, with the naked eye I don't see anything, but let me have a look with binoculars. Still hearing a nuthatch. From here I do not see a single bird. Nobody. So, we're going to continue on. That doesn't look good. Broken branch. I wouldn't want to be there when it falls eventually. Hear that? That's the nuthatch. Or a nuthatch, not the nuthatch. Hold on a second. So I'm gonna zip up my jacket a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I still don't see anything, but let me have a look with binoculars. Let's see. I believe I see some wood ducks way out there, and closer probably some American black ducks. Let's look at the black ducks first. Right here. That one, the mallard that we saw earlier, I'm not positive it was near an American black duck. That's a wood duck right there, and it just swam out of view. And there's a wood duck. I thought I saw another one. Maybe not. So those are two wood ducks back there. There's one there. And did I see yet another one? Maybe not. Maybe that one swam over that we saw already. I don't know. Anyway, we definitely have seen three species of duck here. Wood duck, American black duck, and mallard. And who's making that noise here? Oh, come on. Cardinals. I see two male and female cardinals just came nearby. I don't know if they were the ones making that very high-pitched vocalization or not. Okay, so we have at least two female and a male. I saw the male. I didn't show it to you, but I saw the male myself. Yeah, I guess this is the cardinals. Okay. Alright, we're going to keep going. 1 second, I want to look at one thing. Okay, never mind. Since zipping up my jacket, I feel much warm. I didn't realize it wasn't zipped up quite enough. I mentioned earlier I would not have minded another layer, and I had even considered it before leaving the car, but I didn't want to overheat. I'm not sure if I just heard a kingfisher or not, a belted kingfisher. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to wait here or up ahead near the outflow for geese or not today. Maybe I'll continue on while it's still light. And then maybe we'll go back to the water, you know, closer to the lab. In a way, the view's not as good there. But it might be nice to already be there rather than walk along. And you know, last week it was an accident, but last week I bothered some ducks and wasn't glad to have that happen. So maybe rather than wait here, I'll continue on. But in the meantime, I am going to look around here. We haven't seen any geese here yet today at all. Seeing any birds at all right now. I'm not saying I'll never stand here again waiting for the geese, but I think, you know, tonight I think I'll move on and we'll go, you know, closer to the entrance, or, you know, to the lab, and we'll wait there. And who knows, maybe the view will be great. I have, you know, been there before when the geese have arrived, and I've enjoyed that too. I just like this here, this area, because it's more open in terms of you know, more open sky to see. Closer to the lab, you know, we're very restricted by the trees. Hold on 1 second. I hear a goose. But I hear a chickadee, and I hear somebody else here. Don't know who it is. I see 3 or 4 geese, by the way. Oh, come on. Where's that little bird? Whoever was vocalizing. I'm coming back here because I saw those geese in the air. Oh, more than 3 or 4 geese. Maybe we'll stay here. I don't know. Could go back to where the outflow is, but it's too noisy there. Even though this tree is in the way. coming back? I don't know. Were they recon? Are they going to go tell their friends to come here? Were they looking for their friends? They don't seem to be coming back just yet. Well, let's continue on anyway, as I originally suggested I might, and it'll keep us from bothering any birds, or at least as few as possible in the dark. And it'll be something to do, walk that is, until maybe the geese arrive, maybe they will, maybe they won't, we'll see. You can't see it very well, but there was a bird caught here by the looks of things. Caught or eaten, anyway. I see some geese in the air now. I don't know if they're the same geese. It's possible. If so, they're flying all around. Seems pretty quiet here. I don't see any ducks or anything. We didn't see a great blue heron today here. We didn't see one last week either. Could be that our timing is just bad, or it could be they're no longer here for the year. I don't know. I have not been paying attention to the pond cam to know if they've been seeing any on that. Could be that they've been seeing them all the time. I really don't know. Parking lot lights are on. It's getting dark. You start, when you visit a place like this often and consistently, you do get somewhat of a feel for it. And like, for instance, I don't expect to see Canada geese here in the parking lot or around the parking lot this time of year. In the spring, it's a different story. You just, you just start to get the sense of things, like I said. The first time I ever came here, it was in the month of May, and there were geese all around. And, knowing what I know now, it's not surprising. I hear a nuthatch. I'm also hearing something else. I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, we're going to hang out here for a bit, see if the geese come in. We saw at least one mallard here earlier. We saw at least two ducks. One mallard, one may have been a black duck. I don't want to startle them if they're still in the area. Hearing mourning doves in flight. When mourning doves take off, their wings make a certain noise, so it's rather easy to identify them. Oh, there go mallards. I must have bothered them. Hopefully they're just going to the other side of the pond or something. I didn't see them. I looked, I didn't see them. I'm just flying around a bit. This spot may not be too bad, but you can see, I mean, we have trees right here, and we've done this before from here. Waited for the geese. Trees, trees, the lab and trees. I wonder if we're here, at least here at Sapsucker, I wonder if we're probably done with green herons for the year. But I wonder if also great blue herons. As I said earlier today, you know, I think great blues, you know, they can stay around for a while. I think as long as they can find food, there's a decent likelihood they'll stay around. But I believe the green herons do leave earlier than great blue herons. And they may already have left. An advantage of being here is that, you know, it's a beaver, is that, you know, I don't have to walk in the dark along the trails. For my own sake, I can find my way just fine. It's, you know, last week I did bother some ducks and maybe some other birds or something, I'm not sure. And, you know, I don't want to do that. And so it's kind of nice to be here today. Again, I'm not sure if I'm never sure that the geese will come in. We're just hoping. The geese that we watched flying around earlier, who knows, maybe they were here looking for other geese, and maybe not seeing them, they decided to move on. I don't know. If Sapsucker Woods is unfamiliar to you, you might think, oh, you know, it's late October now, and you know, things just go downhill from here in terms of beauty. But we've seen far too many beautiful days here beyond this. I mean, we've been here, well, on Thanksgiving Day, for instance, when, well, we've had some snowy days, certainly, but even a beautiful sunny day with a fair amount of leaf color of one sort or another. The pond was like completely clear. I mean, right now you see the remnants of lily pads and things like, you might not be able to make it out on the camera, but you see some of that. But, you know, later in November, usually the pond is completely clear. And hold on a second. Something just disturbed the water over there. Oh, there are two Canada geese. I don't know where they came from, but there are two Canada geese over there. Hey, geese. I don't know if they just flew in or if they've been here all along, but there they are. If they did fly in, they did so quietly, but it sounded like they landed by the splashing I heard. So maybe they, I don't know, flew from the beyond our, where we can see because of the trees. Anyway, on a Thanksgiving Day, we've seen some very beautiful sunny days, and we've seen a lot of nice, beautiful looks from this vantage point in November. So obviously winter can be beautiful too. What I have to admit I don't like is when there's snow on the pond and it's all like, nasty looking. It's no longer white, it's turning brownish and grayish and ugly, and that's no good. That I admit I don't like. But there are times, depending on how the winter is here, where if we keep having warm spells, and that has happened in some years, the pond never really gets completely solidly frozen over, and we might occasionally return to a mostly clear, or meaning free of ice, pond. It all depends. And if you don't know, typically the lab right in that area there puts out a bubbler or two, and it keeps at least one area, as long as it works without any malfunction, it keeps an area free of ice. And actually it's a nice thing because it draws a fair number of waterfowl, mostly ducks and maybe a few Canada geese that might stay around, but mostly ducks, mallards. We usually don't go inside the lab of ornithology for a couple of reasons. One, very often it's closed by the time we get here. And two, even when it's open, my internet connection is not so good in there. So I tend to avoid going in, but sometimes in the winter we will go in, and we'll have a nice view of a decent view of the feeding garden. The glass gets in the way, and a nice view of the the ice-free area of the pond, because they have some nice display windows there that show that have a nice view out onto the pond. I think what I should have done, you may have heard recently there were a couple very large lottery jackpots. I don't know if anyone won them outright or not, but I mean, one of them was over $1 billion. If I had won that, and granted taxes would take the bulk of it probably, but if I had won that, I could probably have convinced the lab, look, I'll make a big donation, but you have to convert a portion of the lab building itself into an apartment for me. A couple ducks just landed over here. You can't see them. They look like mallards. Well, maybe no geese tonight. I don't know what's going on. We've also seen where a fair number of geese arrive, but all at once. Swimming this way. And there's another beaver, or maybe the same beaver. Too far away for me to show it to you. It's too dark over there. And I thought I was hearing a wood duck, but I'm not sure. Just heard a splash, but it sounded like maybe a duck taking off out of the water. Hold on. I see two beavers right now. One is getting a little closer. I don't know if you can see its trail in the water, and the other is farther back, which I can't show you. Two ducks are arriving. Mallards. And more ducks are in flight now. Don't know if they had left the pond and they're just relocating, or if they're coming back. I don't know. I sometimes get the feeling that the beavers are rather curious. You know, I've been over near the outflow and they seem to come over. It's like they want to check me out. More ducks in flight. Don't know if they're leaving and coming back or what the story is. Come on, geese, are you coming? In my view, I currently have 4 mallards. They're swimming from where they, I think, came in, and they're now swimming from our right to our left. Can't really show them to you. I don't know, maybe the geese aren't coming tonight again. I don't know. Every year is different, so, you know, never know. Maybe things are different this year. A couple weeks ago we saw a fair number of geese, but, you know, not hundreds and hundreds, but fair number came in, and last week saw just a few, and this week so far we've seen 2. We saw some fly overhead, but just 2 that actually were on the pond. I will say this, I mean, it's something I enjoy watching. I enjoy seeing them come in. We could see hundreds of geese, thousands of geese even, you know, at Montezuma, but it's just nice to see them come in to sapsucker for the night. And, you know, I like it enough that's why, for instance, with the anniversary video that I showed back in September, you know, it was the first thing in the video. Geese arriving here at sapsucker. I hear geese, and a significant flock. Not huge, but the trees are in the way a little bit. I don't know if they're still coming or what. I don't hear them now, but they were vocalizing and I saw them. Now I don't see them. Two geese we saw in the water earlier. They're certainly not calling to them. Maybe they're not even here, but I bet they're still around. Interesting. Nobody landed, but maybe they're coming back. I don't know. Okay, I just heard landings on the water, but just like about 4 geese. You hear that noise? I don't know if you can hear it. Those are mallards. Maybe it's not going to happen today. You know, maybe kind of like last week. I don't know. I mean, it's getting very dark now. But, you know, we did just see, just moments ago, we did see those geese in flight. So, I mean, it's not impossible. But they came in very quietly. I mean, they were vocalizing a bit. I mean, nobody calling up from the ground or from the water level. And that other, you know, the flock had split up. It was larger, and then 4 of them, I believe, split off. The rest continued on. And I believe it may have been the 4 that eventually did come in for a landing. Don't know where the others went. I may be seeing 3 beavers right now, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think so. 3 beavers by the looks of it. Unless it's something swimming along. It's very dark. It's hard to see. Well, maybe it's not going to happen. Like I said, it's very possible. Kind of a disappointment, but oh well. Hey, that's how it is. See, there's a beaver near me. I'd estimate maybe about 20 feet, if that. You might wonder, why don't I always stay with it this bright? Because of the way it's moving now, that's why. See, if it weren't for the clouds, it would probably be a fair amount brighter. So maybe there's still time for the geese to come in, I don't know. Just checked and it's 6:35, so it's not, it's not early, but it's not really late. It's not like it's 8 o'clock. We'll wait a few more minutes. If they don't come in, then I'll pack up. We'll call it a day. Trying to figure out if I'm hearing something or not in the distance. I am. Maybe just one or two geese, but I'm hearing at least one. It's so dark though, it's hard to see them. I don't know if this is worth it now. You can hardly see it all. And go over here, it's just all dark because of the cloud cover. Well, it's not my fault, but I'm sorry about it anyway. Hate to waste everyone's time, including my own. I hear geese. Can't tell if they're in the air or if that's just geese on the other side of the pond, because remember, 4 did land over there. Don't know if you saw them, but I did. That sounds like they're in the air. Maybe a couple of them. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe it's the geese leaving. The few that arrived. Regardless, I didn't see anyone come in or leave, so I think we're going to call it a day. It's so dark you can hardly see, and I mean, even if they come in, I could show you there and maybe there, but you're not going to be able to see much of them coming in. So maybe it's time to head to the car. Watch 500 and they'll come in after I leave. Anyway, with bird watching, I mean, you have to be sensible too. And sometimes you can wait and wait and wait and wait for something that you hope is going to happen, and you know, that's okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should never do it. I mean, there have been times when I've stopped and watched a bird. I see the bird, I know it's there, and I'm hoping it does something. Maybe it takes off even. Just want to see the takeoff. And or if it's a hawk, for instance, dive towards the ground because you know it's hunting, and you expect it to eventually catch something, or at least attempt to do so. And there are times where you sit and wait and wait and wait, and it just doesn't happen. Or watch a heron, great blue heron, or a green heron, and it's clearly, obviously hunting. And it outweights you. I mean, it just takes, eventually you just you can't wait any longer. So I mean, I've done that sort of thing. But with conditions like these, I mean, it's so dark now. Even if the geese do come in, I don't think I'd be able to show them to you. We might be able to hear them, sure, certainly, but I wouldn't be able to show them to you. So I think it's time for me to head home and just be glad that I saw what I did see today. I hope you've enjoyed it anyway. And it was a damp, rather chilly day. I don't know if we're going to have any kind of warmer days before it starts to get really cold. I think this week is supposed to be maybe in the 50s. And then I think it gets colder for the weekend again. But we'll see. Anyway, again, I hope you enjoyed the day. But we are out of time, or out of light, and apparently out of geese and other birds. So, everyone, I wish you a very good night. I hope you have a great week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.